Good day, folks. After more experimentations with my coil and frequency generator, I noticed that after testing with this little inverter here, it worked much better with the high voltage module instead, the really high voltage one with the little capacitor here. And this is the load on it with the from the back EMF feeding the high voltage module. And here's the capacitor, super capacitor. So I took away the batteries because I noticed it was getting warm. So now I've noticed I started off at 1.2 and I'm already at 1.37. So the capacitors are doing a really good job at charging themselves through this setup here. So the reason I'm keeping you up to date is because with all of the methods I've done, I've been trying to experiment with several different concepts. I'm trying to come up with the most simplified one that will show the best charge. And as I talk, I want to show you the meter. Hopefully I'm going to be able to talk enough that you'll see 1.38 to see what I'm talking about here. That it's a consistent charging, and this is capacitors, so no tricks with lead acid batteries like some people were accusing me of. This is just the back EMF. One thing I noticed though is this only worked at a very high frequency of 22.7 kilohertz at 12% duty cycle. Then all of a sudden this started to do its thing. So you see it there, 1.38, it flashed. It's going to eventually stick. So we're going to wait a few more moments just to show you that I really want to show you that the charge is actually coming up. So I'm actually pulsing this is the voltage that's actually pulsing through the controller into the coil here. The coil's back EMF is stepping it up enough to power this high voltage module here, which sends the power back into the capacitor, because lucky enough this high voltage module is also an isolator. So I'm using the efficiency of isolation plus the voltage multiplier stage that's inside this little block module as well. And those who are wondering, you can buy these on eBay, very couple dollars. Just search high voltage module, you'll find it right away. So back to our meter now. I guess we've got a steady 1.38 now. So in a few moments we're going to see 1.39. And our voltage here on the load from this is what we're reading on the capacitor side here. The little capacitor is acting as a filter for the back EMF, because it's filling this up to keep, because this module is looking for DC, right? So we got to give it a low level DC to activate it. So in a few moments we should see 1.39. So I want to stay here for long to show you that it's not a trick or just the capacitor discharging like something like this here for a few moments causing an illusion. Oh, I saw it there, 1.39. So we're having a continuous charge. It's not a continuous discharge. So I'm going to document all of this. I'm going to come up again. I've been saying it, but I've been changing things so quickly in this experimentation, as you've seen in the latest videos. I've been really busy with different variants and coming up with really refining the concepts here, but once I'm satisfied with it all, I'm going to release as much as I can all the information here, the controller, the bias range for the resistor, the transistor, the coil dimensions, even the supercapacitor voltage ratings and farads, so you guys can try your best to replicate this. I want to release it as a teaching tool. But before I do that, I want to make sure that you'll all have at least a chance, because this stuff is very difficult to replicate the conditions, as you've already noted. And a lot of people leave things out, and I don't want to leave anything out. And see, this one here is interestingly peaked to 0.84 for a moment, which means that we're driving the back EMF with stronger pulses here as the capacitor bank is charging up. So just from the time that I've spoken here, 1.39, we're going to hit the there it is, 1.4, folks. See, so this isn't any strange VI curve with the battery, anything weird like that. You know, we can't blame the anomaly of the lead acid no more. It's just this. So I've got and it's really low, because this bank can go up to about 14 volts DC, because they're like 2.7 volts each. So we're really got no power in these capacitors, and they're really doing a good job at bringing itself back up there. And this one here is flicking at 0.83, 0.84 now. So that means we're driving the high voltage module harder, which in effect is charging the capacitors faster. So this is like a feedback loop that eventually, if we were to leave on, we would exceed the supercapacitor's rating. So we've been on for 5 minutes now, and you could see how slow but accurate and steady it increases. Really soon we're going to see the 14.1. And you see it doesn't go back down, right? It doesn't, once you see 14.0, it doesn't, you see it's always a steady up. So that's why I want to record it long enough to show you that it's not just a 1 minute thing and then it's going back down again. The capacitor bank is basically dead. I started off with very little, and it's cycling itself up. So I think this is the best way so far, and I think this is how I'm going to document everything. At least give you folks a chance, a learning tool, something to experiment with. Again, it's not going to run your fridges as is, but it could lead to something that very well could. And we're proving concepts, you see. We're doing right here what people are saying that can't be done. But as you understand in my previous videos, we're tuning, we're resonating, we're using the environment as the other part of the dipole. And this one here is doing a constant 0.84 now, which is pretty good because it was flickering to 0.83 earlier. So the system is building up a charge, folks, with no extra. It's this big coil here, the capacitance. I add a little capacitor to create an LC circuit here that resonates. The back EMF spike feeding this capacitor, giving low level DC to this little high voltage module, feeding back into the capacitor bank. And the capacitor just loves the pulse. I'm just going to keep recording here as long as I can. My arm's starting to get a little tired, but I really want to show you folks what's going on here. And I'm sure, hope you understand, by using capacitors, no battery in the system, it really brings the likelihood that it's battery anomalies, right? It brings it down quite a bit. I had to turn this on there, it timed out after a few minutes. 1.41. Oh, I saw 1.42 there. There it goes. So it's going to do this all night, obviously. We got a long way to go before we hit to the 14 volt point. But it looks like a guaranteed eventual deal here. We'll keep watching it for a little bit more, while we're at it. If you don't like this, you could just forward or go to the next video, but I really want to show you this. Because as I'm talking here, you see I'm not doing anything. So now we're a solid 1.42. So this is a guaranteed increase. I want to make it very, very obvious, folks. But you need to start little and relatively simple to be able to demonstrate the concepts without all of that hoogie-boogie in the background. And a lot of people seem to have their own terminologies, and I apologize if I'm partially guilty for that sometimes because I'm self-taught myself. I try and not use the bad terms, but I've been politely corrected from time to time in the comments, so that's good in a way. So now we've been running for 10 minutes. I guess we're still doing a good 0.84. So that didn't decrease either, which would indicate the capacitors would be going on the weekend again. So all indicators pointing that this is indeed legit. Oh, see 1.43 now. If this keeps up, this 0.84 might flick to 0.85. So here you have it, not only not only perpetual, but over unity. Perpetual motion is one thing, over unity is even better. But again, like I've said a lot of times, it's not over unity in the sense the energy is being created out of nothing. We're just interacting with systems that let us couple with existing energies we would normally be interacting with. And it all begins with pulsing the system with DC. So I don't know, can we all agree that after 11 minutes with no batteries, it's not some lead acid anomaly? Hopefully. Get that excuse out of the air completely. I'll be getting 1.44 soon there, and I think I'm going to wrap it up. My battery is actually getting the battery in the camera, folks, not the battery here. 1.44 there, it's starting to flicker. So hopefully you get the point by now, and we're still at 0.84 here. So that's steady, so this also indicates that the capacitor bank isn't, granted it's from the back EMF side, but if the capacitor bank would be dropping its amplitude, we'd be getting less here to feed this. So it's all an indirect indicators, folks. Now we're a solid 1.4 now. So there we go. I hope you enjoy, and let me know what you think. And again, very soon I'll be releasing as close as I can all of this, as probably I'll be zipping it all up as a file with images, measurements, and everything, because I can't really put it all in a video. Alright, let me know what you all think. Thank you.